For today's makeup application, we'll be doing an age makeup, and my model will be Carina, and my name is Ricky Greenwell. So for age makeup, it is my approach or my method that I actually choose not to use any foundation. Part of what I'm looking to do when I'm doing an age makeup is to work with the flaws or the irregularities in the skin. So my objective is to skip the entire makeup process, or as far as foundation process of covering flaws. So I start simply by working with a shadow. You need to get your character shadows or character highlights together and onto a palette. And then I like to work with a flat um, brush to apply my highlights and shadows. And here I'm starting off with my shadows. I started right at the brow bone area, just creating a nice rounded shape to go with those laugh lines. And then I'm asking Carina to kind of move or manipulate her face. And then I'm just kind of painting in the shadows as I see on my talent's face. And here you can see that I'm now going through, and anywhere that I put a shadow, I'm now putting my highlight. My objective with my shadow and highlight is typically my shadow is going to be blended down, and my highlight will be actually blended in an upward direction. So I start by laying my product with my flat brush, and then what I do is I simply go back in with my brush with little to no product on it, and I kind of just blend out my lines. Now this is all dependent on your venue and what it is that you're looking for as far as the makeup application. The larger the venue, the less blending you're looking to do. The smaller the venue, the more blending your makeup needs to happen. The challenge and trick is when you're working with character highlights and character shadows is your product can get muddy really quickly, especially when we're talking about Caucasian skin tones or skin tones that before you start to get into the ebony skin tones, you have the issue of muddiness. And then as we start to get more, our skin tones start to get darker or more pigmented, then we just have to worry about the opposites as far as avoiding that ashy complexion to the skin tone. But here I know I'm just using simple character shadow from Benai, and I'm using the ultralight or the highlight cream. And my shadows are blended down on the forehead with my character shadow, and I'm blending up across the forehead. I have that brow age line that's giving me a little bit of that roundness into the shape. Now here I'm working into the eye area, and I'm actually going to create a little bit of a fat pocket, or kind of that illusion that the age of what happens to our eye line. So I've taken my shadow product and creating a little bit of a curved line underneath the brow, and then working with my flat brush again into the crow's feet of the eyes, and just kind of working in a little bit of direction. One of the key things when working with age makeup is you're wanting your lines to go from a thin line to a long line to a thin line. You want some tapering. You want those. You don't want anything to be too thick and dense. Even on a large stage, I like to see a taper to my line. Here I'm going through and adding some accent to the nose. So I'm actually taking my shadow product just down the bridge of the nose. And here my objective is to not create that perfect nose. When I'm doing age makeup, I'm also thinking like character. So I'm going to actually add a little, like possibly a little bit of curvature, or I might add a hook to the nose, or I might make the end feel a little rounded or more bulbous towards the tip of the nose. So I'm going to let the individual qualities of my talent kind of determine that. Some of it's also the analysis of the character. Now anywhere that I put a shadow, I'm going in with my highlight product. So I'm adding a highlight to the brow area. Underneath the eyes, I'm actually adding my highlight underneath my shadow. I know I said that typically my shadows blend up and my highlights blend down. But here, underneath the eyes, I'm trying to actually reinforce that dark bag area. So if you actually have naturally darkness under your eyes, that could actually help in the aging quality. And then as I'm working with my highlights on the crow's feet, I am applying that highlight above. And then I'll blend down. The big key when you're working in an age makeup is you are dealing with value. Even though you're dealing with a character highlight and a character shadow, you have to think about what those values are. So it might be a helpful tip to squint your eyes a little bit as you're working and just to see if you can see some of that value as you're working, so that maybe my highlights might be standing out a little bit too much, or maybe my shadows might be a little too intense. So you're trying to see, are you getting a nice evenness or blend to your product? So I had my character shadow along the nose itself. Now I'm going in with my character highlight and bringing out the qualities of the nose. You can see that I'm actually the tip of the nose. In this makeup application, I'm making just a tad rounder and then making it narrower as it goes up. I'm using the brush to blend things out, as well as utilizing the tip of my ring finger. The reason I use my ring finger to blend, it is my weakest finger of my hand, and that means that it's giving me a little less pressure on the skin or the face. Now I'm going in and analyzing the nasolabial folds, so looking at that line that comes naturally from the lip, from the nose to the lip area. I'm going to do a little bit of smile lines right at the edge of the mouth, and then also starting to shape the nose. You're going to notice that as I'm doing age makeup, I tend to work from top of the face down the face, and I'm working in various planes. So the plane of the face being the hairline to the brows, from the brows to the tip of the nose, and then from my nose down to my chin, looking at a planar concept. Now I'm kind of painting in those jowl lines to give me a little bit of that roundness or the sagginess or the bags that actually happen as our skin starts to age. And it's that same process, working with shadows, then going in, reinforcing with highlights. So there are some areas that are lines when we're talking about linear concepts, like the forehead will be lines. I will be looking at linear space around the eyes. My nasolabial folds often can be linear in face, in its appearance. Here I was just using a beauty blender to blend, because then there's going to be areas like your jowl line, which it really needs to look like it is a bagged, or I have a fuller area. But that's not a line in and of itself. So there is some tricks to what's happening when I'm applying makeup, because I do have areas that need to be shaped with contour, and then I have areas that need to be linear in its appearance. And I'm going to say, don't try to paint every line that is on your face when you're doing age makeup, because some of us have like little lines that happen in the middle of our cheeks when we smile. And that's great, but those lines feel awkward in a finished product. Now what I'm using is a flat stipple brush, or it's just a simple flat brush that I use for stippling texture. And I'm going in with just some character shadow, just to now add some age spots. So I'm kind of going in, being random in my appearance, and adding some age spots. And then on top of that, I went in with a stipple brush, so actually a large cell black stipple brush. And I'm going in with some character shadow also. So the colors that I'll use here are going to be things like character shadow. There's a product called Liver Spot that has a little bit of more redness to it that makes a great color. Capillary stipple is an excellent choice for doing something like that. Capillary stipple along the cheek line, possibly a little bit in the hairline, maybe on the nose. You know, as we start to age, we have various color combinations that are going to happen in our skin. So I stipple through with the product, and then I actually go off with my blending brush and make sure I'm like setting that into the skin. If I'm not using a beauty blender, I could use I could actually pat it in with my ring finger, or just a straight up sponge will help to set that product. So it's not like I have actual product on the skin. It's imperative that I kind of push that product into the skin. Now that I've actually finished my stipple application, I'm going in with a vein color This is kind of a greenish blue to kind of tone. And I'm going to accent any veins that I actually might see in the skin. So something around the under eye area, foreheads, something that just may be where I'm wanting to see the skin is pulling through a little bit more. So I'm anywhere that I can add a little bit of texture. This gives that crepiness or that thin transparency to the skin. Now what I'm asking Carina to do is actually pucker her lips out, and I'm using like a chubby lip pencil to define the lips. And by puckering the lips out, what I'm going to use is a two-tone process. So I'm going to use a kind of a more natural lip color, or think about a low light and a highlight. So I'm going to use a low light product onto the lips, and then I'm going to take this, I think I'm using some character stipple in a highlight method. And now you can see by taking a little bit of a low light and a highlight, I actually have more of a wrinkled appearance to the lips. Now what I'm using is a mascara brush, and I actually have some just cream hair color on it. So it's just a cream white color that's used for aging the hair. And what I'm doing is just kind of, instead of using mascara, I'm actually using just a white cream product to kind of give that age appearance to the lash line itself. And I'm going to do my bottom lashes and then have Carina look down with her eyes, and then I'm just going to kind of brush the product into the upper lashes as well. The same hair white that I use. This is a cream-based hair white, so it's not the alcohol-based hair white that is used typically in the hair. This makes it great for using in like the brow area as well around the eyes, because I don't have to worry about the alcohol base that is in some of the hair products. Now I'm actually switching over to the alcohol-based hair product or alcohol-based hair white. And I'm just hitting a little bit into the temple area, or giving me some appearance of age through the hair. So here you can see I'm just using an old toothbrush. I have a little bit of product onto the toothbrush itself, and I'm just kind of gingerly raking it into the hair just to give me a little bit of shape and streaks to the hair. I'm also roughing up the brows just a little bit with the product. Now I'm going in with just a soft blue eyeshadow to give some, appearance to the lid. I'm not doing a strong contour. In fact, I'm kind of doing a fairly messy eye or a messy shadow in the idea or concept that this character, as she's getting older, has a harder time seeing what she's doing. So she's just adding that nice, frosty lid to her appearance. Now I'm using a eye pencil. I'm kind of dragging it from the outer corner of the eye across the lid itself. And then I'm using my finger to kind of smudge that a little bit. Here I'm just trying to, give that eyeliner appearance. Once again, I'm not looking for that crispness to the eyeliner. I've decided that this particular character might do a smokier piece. It can actually have some broken lines. It does not need perfection within this application. Now I'm going through with a loaded powder puff, and I'm actually now setting everything that I did for my makeup application. So what I'm doing is putting a little powder in. You can see that I actually am taking the powder, putting it into my hand. I'm pressing it onto the face. I'm utilizing a rolling motion and a tapping motion because I'm not trying to blend my product here. I'm trying to make sure that I'm actually setting everything in place. The goal, like anytime that you're looking for that natural look, powder puff is going to do a wonderful job at pressing the powder into your skin to set your makeup, to give you a nice finish to your look. And you're seeing that there's quite a lot of product on the skin, but just a matter of making sure that the puff goes on the skin, and then I just kind of drag the puff afterwards, sets all the product, and makes the makeup look as if it's actually coming directly from the skin. Now just taking a powder brush just to dust off any extra product. Here I'm just using a Q-tip or cotton swab just to clean up any area that may have touched the skin. And now I have my completed makeup application. So it's my hope that you learned something with me today, and remember, if you believe it's possible, you can make it possible.